We are live.
Oh, we
Baby,
are?
we're live.
Wow.
Welcome, Danny.
There's no what's in the box for this
No,
episode.
no.
It's just
I couldn't
who's
fit
in the
Danny
chair.
in the box. Oh, so, mate,
Try.
you're here. You're in Canberra.
I am. I'm in Canberra, yes.
What's happening? What happened last night?
So I went down, some of the boys that I manage, Rockefellers, they're like a DJ act, the grandpas.
Yep.
They played at Fiction. So we went down there, got in pretty late last night, about 6:30, I think.
Yep.
Went for dinner. I can't remember what it was called. I think it was like a key bar or...
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kiwi,
Yeah, I
yeah.
saw your
That's pretty
plate,
flash.
your empty plate that looked pretty good.
It was good, man. The food
Yeah.
was good. And it wasn't overly expensive, to be honest, either. Then someone's saying it's a bit blurry on that.
Oh, yep.
It doesn't look it from here.
That's right. Open your eyes, Damo.
And then, so I went down there, had a feed, and then we finished about 9:30, I think. A couple of drinks, and then I fucking fell asleep watching TV.
Yeah, right.
And then got up and we went in about midnight. But it was pretty good.
Right,
It was busy down there. It was a cool little club. Like it goes down 2 stories into in the ground.
Yep.
I think it's relatively newish.
Yeah, I've never seen it. I've heard of it.
Yeah,
I've never
one of my
been there.
daughters told me that there's tickets to that, and once they're sold, then there's no more into that venue.
So it's like a
that's
set.
it. Yeah,
It was like you could tell it'd been built, but they did a good job of building it. Like so when normally when someone builds a club that's new, in my opinion, it looks like a hospital.
Yep.
This didn't feel like a
Yeah.
hospital. So
Yep,
they sort
yep.
of built it. It's got a basement vibe. It's got like a big area that sort of overlooks it. And it reminds me of like Blade, the movie, because you're watching through the perspex and you can watch everyone dance above sort of thing.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
is
cool.
is that the club that used to be? What was it? Which one did you say? What?
Fiction is called
Fiction. Yeah,
Yeah,
fiction.
didn't that used to be the movie theater back in the day, and then before that, after that, I went to another club. I don't know.
It kind of looks like a movie theater. Like,
Yeah.
I believe that. Like
Yep.
if someone told me that was a movie theater, I was going to say like it reminds me of the Melbourne ones.
Yep.
So we had a lot of like Melbourne back in the day, but they're like old school, fucking theaters.
Yep.
Like so, like the Forum, it was Metro Palace, whatever. It sort of had that vibe. So I didn't know if they did that on purpose or not.
Yeah,
but
right.
actually, that was the feeling that it gave me.
Yeah, yeah.
So when I was watching it, I was like, this reminds me of like all the good my venues that I like, those theatre sort of venues.
Yep.
So it was cool, but it was like a new version of that, which I'm not seeing because normally when something's new, people just go overboard and just fucking
Yep.
try to make it look ritzy as, but it wasn't like that.
So you're saying for once Canberra's not bad,
Yeah, it was a good club. I liked
even
it.
though I'm in shorts and stuff and you're freezing when I pick you up. It was like,
Now I'm from Melbourne. It's not much warmer there.
yeah, true, yeah, you're used to this. You're kind
Yeah.
of
Well,
you could live
4
here
seasons
easy.
in one day in Melbourne,
is.
isn't it?
Yeah,
So,
we left. It was like basically the same weather when we got here than there. Like it wasn't any colder. To be fair, like Melbourne's already freezing. It just falls off a cliff. Does it do that here?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It
You
was
walk
hot.
outside and it feels like the wind just cuts you like a knife. It's fucking cold. I can't deal. I'm from the Gold Coast,
Oh,
so
really? Okay.
yeah, it's. I still can't get used to the winters here.
Yeah, I like you'd be the same. 'Cause you've come up here, but I get like look forward to them.
Yes.
And then, but for me, us, it was like Easter, and it was like 31, but it was like 9 degrees in the morning.
Yeah.
And it just went boom, like straight off the. And now it's fucking freezing, but it's red wine and fire time, baby.
It is, and that's the beauty of this, I suppose.
Yeah.
is, you can crank the fire up, get the red wine out, and away you go.
Yeah.
So how often are you in Canberra now? Like, what's
Not
the schedule like?
heaps. Like I was in Canberra last time I saw you.
Yep.
Was I was here for a Jet launch.
Yeah,
And
yep.
which was fucking insane. That
Oh,
event.
that's
It was only just down the road. At
yeah,
Cork's
yeah, it
Liquor.
was, yeah.
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 So that was nuts. It was like we pulled it together with 48 hours and we sort of just did it as like a love job.
Yeah.
And then it just happened. It coincided.
It was
that-
literally overnight sort of thing,
Well,
wasn't it?
basically what happened was Troy was like, we need to go to Canberra. And then he had to go give away a car because someone had won a car in Canberra for LMCT.
That was the VFGDS, I think, black one.
Yep. And
Yep.
then he was like, oh, I got to go to Canberra. I was like, should we do an event? And then I was like, dude, you're never going to guess, but I'm in Canberra. So it just happened
That's
to be
nuts.
the same day. So we figured that out on the Monday. And I was in Jindabyne and we were doing this, Rockefellers were doing this Pit Viper party,
Yep,
which was pretty mad. We did like an event at Banjo Patterson.
yep.
And then I was like, well, if you want, we can just hook something up. So we hooked something up at Cork's Liquor down the road. And then it was a guy, I can't remember the guy's name now. I shouldn't have even mentioned it, but who helped us out. Sorry, guy who helped us out.
Old mate.
Yeah, and then we were like, okay, sweet. So he's like, I'm going to get a license and all this shit. And then he put it on. So me and Troy just thought it was going to be like real casual. And then I rolled in at like 5. And then I met them somewhere. We took some photos and videos. And I got there. And as soon as I got there, it was like fucking already packed. And then it ended up being our
I've seen the
biggest one.
photos and videos. It was
You were
nuts.
there. There would have been
Yeah.
600-700 people there. It was
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah, I couldn't get there for it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
and,
took Murphy.
Yeah, nice.
and then
yeah.
the cars, there was just cars everywhere. And then I left, so I bailed out at about 8:30, except to go fly home.
Yep.
And then I think it turned up on its head a little bit.
Yeah, it
There
was what are they? AJ. Oh, it's a car performance mob that's here, and they're doing a lot of traveling now. Doing
Oh yeah, those guys. Yeah, so they were the ones taking us around in the cars.
Yeah, AJ's, is it?
Well, I think they fucked the diff on the way there. Like they blew their diff on one of the cars, and then from what my understanding is that after the event there was a little bit of Mexico going on. Yeah, like so there was cars getting maybe swung around, but
it's crazy how quick we can get to Mexico.
But it's Canberra like turns it on, man. Like
it does.
That's one thing.
There's some of that too. So the car scene here is massive.
Yeah.
Oh, just in general, like even the other stuff I work with in general, because I guess it's you guys. Not everyone comes here, so when they do, it seems like people appreciate it and they get around it.
Yeah.
So I've seen it even with music stuff, like they come out for all kinds of artists. Like some artists that don't necessarily do well in Melbourne where it's oversaturated, like there they will.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good. It was that was crazy. And then especially because we put it together in 48 hours. But the funny thing was we didn't bring any like merch really. We didn't bring up like we normally have like sort of dressed to the nines in like G out promotions and rah. We didn't do any of that and it ended up being the biggest one we did. And then the other ones we've done where we've gone overboard, we've only had like 150 there or 200 sort of thing. So yeah, it was cool. Cool
So
experience.
it was a good pack out though last night.
Yeah, it was pretty busy. Yeah. So, but other than that, I haven't been in Canberra for 10 years.
Yeah,
so it was like it just happens to be twice this year, and I think I'm coming back again soonish. But the flight's good. It's so quick. Like you said, you just go up and then boom, straight back down.
Again. Same.
Sooner they give you a drink, they're coming back to pick up the empty.
Well, because I was editing a video, so I was like, I'll edit this and I'll watch a TV show. And then as I finished editing the video on my phone, it legitimately was like, we're now preparing for boarding. I was like, oh, okay, sweet.
So we've caught up in some random spots, haven't we? The other weekend, we were in Sunny Coast. Was it Sunny? No, Mackay.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
I was talking to the guy before and he's like, oh, how do you know this guy? And I'm like, oh, JT. I'm like, bro, I fucking met him in Perth and I bumped into him 3 times since.
Yep.
And just like in random. So yeah, we bumped.
He's got a face you can't forget though, Danny.
Yeah. It was funny though because I didn't even know you were there. Like, so I was at the front and then Freestyle Kings people turned up and as we rocked up, they're like, oh, we'll get you through first. And they're like, well, there's a Freestyle Kings party on. And then I hadn't looked at my phone and then you'd messaged me saying, are you in Sunny Coast?
Yeah.
And then not 2 minutes later, I saw you. I was like, what the fuck? Yeah. That I'm going back to that joint again. It was a bit pokey, that one.
Yeah. But it was lively.
What was that one?
Yeah.
What was it called?
Ziped.
Yeah.
Yeah. It didn't have toilets. That was a drama.
Oh.
So they built toilets in it now. I think will help it because it was just like moving. Like, people going in and out.
But Rockefeller, they went off.
Yeah,
like they're in the crowd and on the tables and
that's the whole thing. Like, it's a hazardous job. The old Rockefellers. There's you can definitely. I've seen some injuries. Like one of the fellas, he got crowd surfed. Not one, 3 of them got crowd surfed and have like just pummeled the ground and like fucked their necks and backs and stuff. So it's not unusual that someone's off because they've been dropped crowd surfing. But it's a high energy thing. Like obviously you've seen it yourself. But it's a very high energy, high interactive, and there's not a lot of things like that. But I built that brand off the back of being a promoter.
Yep.
So I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to be a promoter, what do I want to see? And I want someone that can entertain the crowd, hold them.
Yep.
So I was like, let's build a show, not an artist per se.
Yep.
And then that's what we've done, and it works everywhere. But we're able to like change it. So like for argument's sake, if we do like a corporate gig, we can play like 90s and 2000s and still give them the same interaction and the same sort of show. That we can do anything, but it's like it's interesting.
It's a vibe though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like it works really well in clubs, but it's like I've been thinking about it recent. I'm like, it would work well anywhere, I reckon, but we'll see where it goes and stuff. But it's still growing. But we sort of had a little bit of COVID, kind of kept going up and down, and then now that it's like free to reign. But I don't know if you guys know, but the clubs in general around Australia are like pretty fucked at the moment, so everything's dead.
Yeah, I think Gold Coast as well. It's sort of died off a lot. There's clubs shutting, opening, shutting all the time.
Cali Club shut.
So there's it's just I don't know, it's grim. Like it's the weirdest thing. Like I probably got out the best time ever, but don't know why. So like these kids don't give a shit. Like they don't seem to want to go out. But
I know I've got a daughter that doesn't care for that at
they
all.
Just
she
don't.
prefer go camping or
which is good, right? Like as a parent,
it's only going to ramp up.
Yeah.
Like
it did. So like for me, so before it was kind of dropping off a little bit before, So it sort of started to drop off. It was getting a bit harder, not like it is now. And then during COVID, I was still a part of it then.
Yep.
And then basically when we had those little breaks in Melbourne, it was wild. Like how much the amount of money that was coming in was fucked. Like it was like people just giving away for free.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is not normal. So I decided to leave at that point because I was like, it's never going to get better than this. Like there's no way possible. And so that's when I kind of pivoted into the alcohol companies and stuff like that. But I made that decision and like a lot of guys are like, oh, you know, you made the perfect timing, rah, rah, rah. I'm like, I didn't know it was going to do this. Like, I was looking at it like, can't get better than this.
Yep.
Not that it's going to drop off and fucking
Die.
get real. Yeah, die. Like, I didn't know that was going to happen. So I can't give myself credit for that part. But they, it has now gone, it's tough times out there. Like, a lot of the guys that I kind of have stayed in, the guys who were like top of their fucking rank have gone broke now.
Yeah,
and they're struggling and blah, blah, blah. But I got lucky and got out at the right time. But as I'm doing my social media stuff now, which I know like you just talked about before, but I'm trying to help bring it back. Like I'm sort of telling these old war stories and crazy things I've seen, and in hope that some of these kids watch it and then they kind of make these for themselves. Yeah. Like what are you missing out on? Because even though it's not the best part of my life, at the same time, I think everybody our age has some crazy stories when they're out on the piss. Yeah, like it's something that I think you should experience at least. I don't know, but at the same time, though, you can't deny. Like I'm a father. Same as what you're saying. It's like I would love my girls to go camping and explore the world too. Yeah, and so it's sort of it'd be good to have a good mix between the both. But at the moment, it seems like it's just one way or the other sort of thing.
Well, that's a good lead in, I suppose.
It's a pretty full on life, isn't it? Like doing what you're doing. But how do you fit the fam in? How do you do it?
I don't know. I'm joking. I'm kind of basically like they're a part of my schedule. Yeah. That makes sense. So they're my favourite part of my schedule. But every morning I wake up with them, make them breakfast.
That's good.
Get them ready, take them to school 3 days a week. So that's the part where I'm able to be there. So like from 7 a.m. when they wake up till 9 a.m. or even on Saturday, same thing, Sundays, whatever. And then when I'm working, get home at 6, dinner, bath, bed, the whole bit. They go to bed at 8, I start again. So I start working again. So it's like I definitely work a lot of hours and I have sort of probably 4 hours off, which is 2 hours in the morning with them, 2 hours at night. And I feel like as though I probably see them more than like a tradie would.
It's the best time though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is, especially before school, after school, and then it's back into the swing of things.
Yeah, but I reckon that it's kind of strange because like a lot of people will look at what I'm doing, which I understand. Like, you know, you're away all the time, you're interstate, you're doing this, you're doing that.
Yep.
And they're like, when do you see your kids? But the thing is, I probably see them more than they do.
Yeah.
Like, because as a tradie, like, they're going at dark and they get back at dark and they get maybe 2 hours an hour at night.
Yeah.
They're wrecked. Whereas, like, I've got full 4 hours. And then, as I said, like, I was with them in a kids' playground park before I came here. They dropped me at the airport, fly here. I'll roll in at dinner. We'll have like a roast, no doubt.
Yeah,
hopefully,
so good.
Hopefully, Sarah.
Touch wood.
a roast if it's cold.
I think we're all coming then.
Yeah.
Well, you'd have to say it's a bit complacent, I guess, normal working life. Parents become a little bit complacent with the kids because they're there.
Yeah.
You know, where the lifestyle, you know, like you and I have with entertainment and stuff, and, you know, what Dion's touched with him in the past is that we make that effort because we know we're going away to do something.
Yeah, for sure.
So we do probably invest a little bit more into our
when
kids.
You've got a weekend off, you sort of like, you might go away together. Or
exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Instead of like, I've been swinging tools all week, I just want to do nothing on the weekend.
I also think another one too, which is like, it motivates me a bit, and maybe hopefully I'm not wrong down the track, but I'm like, you know, like I'm doing all this crazy stuff. My kids are watching me do.
Yep.
I'm hoping that motivates them to do crazy stuff because I
100%.
would love them to live a life like me. So I'm like, you know, daddy's going here to do this, or look at what I did when I get home. I'll sort of show them the videos, like this is the gig last night, or, you know, they get to meet, like my daughters have met Amy Shark and the Veronicas. It's like they get to meet these people. I'm like, you know, so I'm giving them a different looking at life, like anything's possible, kind of. And I feel like that's maybe how I justify it in my own head.
It's good motivation for them too, 100%. And
you had me an Amy Shark. She's pretty odd, eh?
Yeah.
What's she like? Is she little?
She's tiny, yeah.
She's tiny,
She's got real skinny ankles.
Out of everything, notice the ankles.
Yeah,
it's so weird, but it's like every time you meet someone famous, like they're always small. I swear.
Yeah.
It's like so weird, but they're never like, you know, like, oh, that guy's way taller than I thought. It's always like, that guy's way smaller than I thought.
Yeah.
But
how old are your daughters?
5 and 8.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so prepping grade 3.
Yep.
But it's like cool for them. I always think that when they're telling people at school what dad does, I reckon they're probably like, oh, yeah, you're a liar.
I would say, like with me, my girls, and I guess when you say about what we do, what it teaches our kids, nothing makes my girls starstruck because they've been around the action sports industry since they were born. So to them, rock stars, all that, they don't get starstruck by them. They just roll through as normal people. They see them like this. What we're creating here on Dad Pod is to understand that people are
the backgrounds.
But they are,
what their lifestyle
right? Like
is.
you deal with those guys, and I've met guys through Freestyle Kings or whatever. Like I've met all walks of life, and 9.5 times out of 10, they're just normal people.
Like my dad
They
always
are.
said, they
Yeah.
sit down to shit like all of us.
Yeah.
You know? And
Yep.
that's,
And that's the thing, it's just they're in a different community. So like, as you know too, like when you're in it, like you with these guys, like are guys that I'll knock around with and people are like, what do they like? And rah, rah. But I'm like, I'm knocking around with this group. They're no different than the group that I went to school with that I'm having a fight with. Yeah, like it's the same shit. The only difference is that you see more of them online. Yeah, like they're no different than you. They're having the same woes. They're having the same conversations, maybe different. Like that's probably the only difference is that the conversations are more elevated.
Exactly, yeah,
like
yeah.
they're more like I said before, even like the jail guys, I've said, if I was talking to another group that I grew up with and I was like, I want to be a famous YouTuber in a year, they'd be like, they'd question it. Like that, maybe not me now, but like, say one of them said or whatever. And then I said, but if I said it to you boys, you'd be like, yeah, I reckon you can do that. Yeah. And so like that's the only difference. Like everything's possible with those sort of dudes. Like they're world dreamers in a sense. Whereas sometimes you get other groups that aren't like that. And I think that's the only difference between like a successful group or like a famous group or fucking professional sports athlete, and then you got guys that like maybe sort of haven't done that or not like kind of willing to do that. They're watching from just a normal job. Not there's anything wrong with that, but it's like they don't believe in themselves in a sense. Whereas
not
the guy,
driven.
but the guys up here they do. Like they just kind of go, I think I'm going to do this, and then they sort of fucking throw full
100%.
swing. Whereas a lot of these other guys, they're too scared to give stuff a crack.
Yep.
And what happens is they don't ever get to have a crack. If that makes sense. So it's a crazy
Risk equals reward, like it's And I always say you always got to surround yourself with positive, like-minded people.
100% you do.
If you don't, you're going to be exactly where they are.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's why you see those guys, same again, like professional athletes, extreme athletes, like whatever it is, like content creators, they all hang around each other because they are like-minded people. And they need to be in that environment where they're not second-guessing, is my mate giving me shit behind my back because I'm fucking posting content
and
or whatever.
it feeds you. It feeds your drive too.
It does. You drive each other and you pull each other up. It's just
you watch it accelerate people.
100%.
So when you see people kind of move off, and it's like even again, like again using extreme sports as an example, but it's like you watch a guy who moves. Like I was saying before, one of my mates I just met from here. He owns Backbone in Canberra.
Yep.
So we went out for breakfast. Tyson Gillespie. He moved here from where we were, and he was like decent rider, whatever. But to come meet Cam White and all those guys, and you watched him just absolutely smash it. So he got so much better because he was hanging around with other dudes who were pushing him, and so it's like you almost got to do that. I reckon. Like you got to put yourself in. Almost go meet people who are better at what you want to do than you. So you can get better at it yourself.
It's good drive. For me, it is like just hanging around like-minded people. It just makes you want to do better. You look at Adrian, you look at Troy. And the thing is, on Instagram and stuff, people only see snippets of the good stuff.
Totally.
They don't see what goes in the background. They look at everything and they go, fuck, man, you've got everything. You're doing so well. It's like, man, I'm doing 18, 20-hour days.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's the thing. Adrian, he doesn't switch off.
No, he doesn't.
Troy doesn't switch off.
He does all those emails you see that come from Adrian are from him.
Yeah.
So it's like he fucking does them. I'm just like, So when it's like Adrian Allen 50 plus, it's like legitimately him writing them and going.
Yeah, you look at it, think, oh, it's just another
another
marketing.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's the other thing. I look at your group, and we should touch on that. Yes, you've got Troy, you've got Adrian, but there's a group of you guys, like Entourage, the show, is how G Up come together. So and I know all your group, but do you want to touch on those guys because they all have their own purpose? It's not just a bunch of guys. Oh, let's put out a drink.
Yeah, they've all got families too.
Well,
Adrian's just had a baby. Troy's
and all their
got the same.
different businesses. They're in the same boat as you. They're not. It's not just G Up and we thought we'd throw some cash and win.
Well, I guess the thing for us is that we're all because I'm like the late one into the crew. That makes sense. So like these boys were mates, and then I facilitated their thing. So like the 5-second story is, I knew Troy and every single one of those boys. So and I'll go through it later in a second, but I knew them all individually, not together. That makes sense. So I kind of brushed past them in different parts of my life. And then, so basically they connected and they were sort of running that thing. And then I knew Troy from clubs. So he would come to clubs and I'd just sort of like, push him to the line or do whatever because he was a cool kid from the area. And then he had done some rapping stuff for me and like whatever. Not rapping as in like, Eminem, car rapping, and then he done to. So he does
because I was about to get into that. I was like,
he does rapping.
Troy, a rapper?
Yeah,
this is interesting.
ECM, yeah.
Yeah, and then he was doing that sort of stuff, and then he called me one time for advice. He's like, we're trying to do this thing. It's a hurdle. Like, don't understand what I should do to get over it. I sort of just gave him advice, and then I hung up, and I'm like, I should fucking see if I can do this for him. Yeah. And so then we called back up and I'm in another group of guys with like-minded people sort of thing. Same again, family guys, ex-club owners, rah. And then I was like, we could probably do this for you. And then they went and did their due diligence and talked to all these different people and and like we were probably the most underqualified for it, arguably. And they came with us, and I think it was because we were like-minded.
Yep.
We understood one another, same sort of business ethics, same sort of like basic ethics in general, and then we kind of came together. So I subbed in there, but Troy I knew from just the area. His current, I guess, partner, not wife, Anita, used to date, had the same ex-boyfriend as an ex-girlfriend of mine. So that's like when we first met up. Me and Troy were like...
what a connection.
Yeah, me and Troy were like, oh, that guy's a fuckhead. Yeah, he's a fuckhead. So that's how we sort of started talking. And then Panna, his sister, was a friend of mine. So she was at like my 18th birthday. So Panna
Because Panna's part of G-Up as well.
Yeah, so he does finance your way. So he's like a... he basically gets loans and whatnot, but he's had a different trajectory. But we sort of basically back from the area, but we all grew up similar spaces.
He's a smart guy.
Yep, very much so. And then Nick has NGM Roofing, which is like a big roofing company, and I knew him because he knew just different, like heaps of people I knew him, vice versa. We'd actually never met one another, and then we sort of met each other and became mates. Then
It's just an attraction, and it's just you can see who's on the same level, essentially, and you just sort of
blend together, And then Oscar, same thing. It's just like so similar networks, but not the same. And then we all kind of come together. But where we all kind of come together is that we're all boys from suburbs of Melbourne.
Yeah.
None of us have that like sort of silver spoon sort of lifestyle, and we're all tattooed and fucking not your traditional successful entrepreneurs.
Suit driven.
Yeah, and that's what sort of brought us together. So we kind of get shit done, but it's fun, man. It's fun hanging out with those guys.
But that's what it's about today, though. You look at all the influencers and content creators and stuff like that. Everyone's covered in tats, and they're just having a good fucking time. It's generally a good time, and that's what makes good content as well. Like we had Troy and Adrian here for the supercar event. Yeah. That was just a mad weekend.
Yeah, the speed car, whatever. I organised the back end part of it.
What was it called again?
Festival of Speed.
Festival of Speed. Yeah.
Now that's taken off in Canberra. So now that page, you'll see guys out every weekend in their supercars, and that would never.
No shit, really.
It was like the hit. You know, you go to Melbourne, there's supercars everywhere. It was never.
They done well to pull it together,
and they never
was that
come
the first
out.
one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought
it was actually built like a track at Thoroughbred Park in Canberra. So they got bitumen down and all that sort of thing. Like you couldn't really get out of second gear. But
still
it was
to see a supercar like not on the road and be able to on this little track, and I think
light it up.
Yeah, and I reckon it's definitely going to grow because they got.
I know that they've already reached out and asked the boys to come back again.
Yeah,
cool.
So I don't know what part they're going to play in that, but that's a funny thing, man, because I'm not into cars. So like I do a lot of these deals. So I did like the Festival of Speed one. I do. There's one called Capello just recently.
That looked good.
That was Melbourne, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I sort of do it all, and then the guy's like, we're gonna bring what cars are Adrian gonna bring? I'm like, Bert. Like I'm like, but I don't know what they're called. Yeah, like even when,
just a shiny one.
Even when we were there,
P Center.
So even when we were there the other day, and I was setting up their bar and stuff, like their area we had in the middle. So I was there before and after every day, and then I was like, I'll take one of because I had all these Lambos. There was like 12 of them. I was like, I think there was $10 million worth of cars, something stupid there. And then one of the boys, Nick, I was like, so he's always like with me, like we're like in the trenches, fucking building the events and stuff. Like we love it though. And then I was like, which one's the expensive ones? Because I didn't know which one to take a photo with, and I didn't know which one to fucking rope off. So, but it's weird because I'm sort of working with those boys in their car and but fucking hell, man, they've got some. When it comes to that, like they're Kardashians of cars. Yeah, like they go to anything with cars, and it's wild the amount of people that come out for them, take photos. There's giant lines, or the whole bit and caboodle.
Yeah, it's cool.
But it's insane. It's kind of cool though, because again, you're talking about like the difference. So we'll go to like a club, and then it's my turn. Yeah, like those guys are now so fucking famous that it doesn't matter where they go. But when we go to car stuff, like no one will know who I am. So it's like it's kind of cool that we get to. Yeah. We're playing in different fields, even though we're one unity in a sense. Like we work together, but we're all popular in different sort of scenes, sort of thing.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Makes
it cool, but it's fun they're very, very good lads, those blokes.
So tell us about the new can, the new. Like hopefully
sour grape, sour apple, and watermelon.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Hopefully we can fill the fridge and
I'll send you some up for sure. To be honest, like basically where that started was people were mixing our stuff with lemonade. Yep. And then we'll just do it ourselves. Like if someone's already doing it.
Yep.
And
just
then
to grab and go.
Yeah, and then I can sort of say it on here, but we found a loophole that made things cheaper, and obviously with the cost of living currently. It's hard. So our stuff, even though it's 8%, which will blow your mind, is it's going to be like $18 a 4-pack.
Wow.
Real.
And so we've basically effectively found a loophole, which I'm not going to say because I don't want anyone to take that
Yeah.
loophole. where
Yeah.
We can make it affordable, but even working with the bottle shops and like the majors, they're sort of like, can you make something taste good? That sort of sits in this category because people, they need to spread that sort of put, what's the word? Spread their money a little bit more thinner at the moment.
Yep.
How can you do it? So I think it's going to do good, but it tastes good, man. It just tastes like lollies. Like I shouldn't say that, but yeah, it tastes like.
Well, does it?
I'll send some up. You guys will try it, but you'll be
I'm
surprised.
keen.
You'll be surprised. It
Definitely
doesn't
keen.
really taste alcoholic.
Is that the sweetness that actually made you do what Dion's going to put on the screen in a minute? Was that because then we can touch base on how this come about and just like left field for a promoter to drink owner to
Pro bull rodeo rider. Is that what you're getting to?
Yep. We're gonna.
I'm just going to pull this for a minute because someone's saying it's pixelated for some reason. I don't know why it wasn't the other night.
Yeah. Maybe it's just Danny's aura in here. It's just
Too shiny.
We're just a couple of old fellas, and he's got a glow about him from hanging out in the Canberra weather.
Try that again.
It's a good time. I reckon autumn's a good time to come here because like last time I was here, it was I think it was winter, and so it's pretty bare. But now like the orange trees and stuff,
Yeah.
they're kind of like
The leaves
It's
start to
pretty-
change
yeah.
colour. And
it's pretty beautiful. Yeah. So how did I get into the rodeo thing?
Yeah, how did that? Yeah, we'll be able to show it in a minute. But how did?
let a few get back on.
There you
and
go. It
we'll
says
have a
yeah. It
look.
says they said it's getting a bit better.
I don't know what happened there, guys. Sorry. It's perfect our end, so maybe get a new phone.
But if you jump on the YouTube after this, after this episode, we'll be able to put that up on there. So make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel as well.
So
And
yeah,
another plug. This episode brought to us by
It is,
Peaky
yeah.
Grinderz Coffee.
Yeah, Peaky Grinders and Prestry Media and Wet Pussy.
hey.
There it is.
I'll tell you a good story about that while we're
Yeah,
waiting.
let's go.
Yeah.
So my for anyone that doesn't know, basically it was 3 club owners. We created it during COVID, and
Yep.
then we ended up selling our clubs to keep going with it because we trademarked it.
Yep.
I said this story heaps
It's
times.
big though, isn't it?
It's massive now.
Massive.
Yeah. We sell all over Australia. Like we're in every major, but Dan Murphy's and stuff. But it's so going back to the dad thing. So obviously it's called Wet Pussy, right?
Yeah.
So we would say all the time,
Premium name.
yeah. But we're like, I'd say the name around my daughter, and then I didn't. She started saying it, and so like when I say it, you say it all good, yeah. And like when my daughter's like, Dad,
Imagine going
Dad.
to daycare.
Yeah, she's like, Dad. She's like, is that Wet Pussy? I was like, oh yeah. You shut up. Like I was like, you don't have to say that. So now, there's 2 parts that went to it. So in our household, we call it WP. Like
Yeah.
so, even now when I refer to them, I'm always like WP.
Yeah.
Because I'm so used to like not saying it in front of them because I
Yeah.
don't want them to repeat it. And the second one was, I think she was
gold.
in grade prep 1. I had to go to a teacher and I had to tell her. So I was like, hey, do you know what a wet, it's fucking, and she goes to a Catholic school, man. So you can imagine how awkward it was. And I'm like, do you go to, sorry, do you know what a wet pussy shot is? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, okay, so I own that and I trademarked it with a friend and rah, rah, rah. So my daughter says that name, that's why, because of this. Yeah, so I had to explain, but I'm like, we call it WP
The
shots
most
now.
awkward conversation to have.
And they always say it, man. They come into the house like,
Was she hot?
no. But they come into the house and they was like, oh, Dad, did you just give someone wet pussy? I'm like, don't say that word. It's like, but it's an awkward one being a dad with a brand name that. But it's funny because my mother-in-law, she obviously hates the name, and then she obviously hates the name. And then I remember saying to her, she was like, like whatever she was saying, like carrying on, whatever. And then I was like you hate it now, but you won't hate it when I'm delivering your bloody grandchildren in helicopters to your house.
Yeah, exactly.
But I've always sort of lived on that like borderline grey. Like everything I've done, like
Yeah.
Wet Pussy. Before that, I had a thing called Fake Tits, which was like an event. It was like a very iconic club
Yeah.
night in Melbourne. Debbie Does was another event I did,
Yeah.
which was like really massive. So everything I've always done has just been
good.
like on the cusp. It was actually interesting. I was looking at this thing the other day. I don't know if I should be proud or not, but it was like the last decade. There was 11 where the liquor license comes in, and they'll basically give you like a warning for like towing the line too hard.
Yeah.
And I was looking at it, and 4 of the 10 in the last 11 years were me.
That's crazy. Because didn't Troy go through the same thing as well?
Well, no, they
There
tried
was-
to ban him from it, but the thing is, hopefully they're not connecting to me now, but they're effectively, I'm not connected to it. So like one of them
Yeah.
was like, I did this thing, was a speed dealer, like the glasses.
Yep.
So I did a speed dealer party, and then they obviously cracked it because I didn't think about the fact that speed dealer at a
Dealer.
nightclub sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then I did
It's a bit of fun, right?
Wear Pussy, which obviously they didn't love.
Yeah.
And then the other one was the fake tits porno parties, and we used to like they put this stuff up. And basically, what we used to do back then is their next door was a strip club.
Yeah.
So we just say to the strippers next door, come through, do whatever you want, rah rah. Here's all your drink cards and your money. And as strippers do, they'd get the tits out, and then that's what blew our night up because they would we'd post the videos back when you didn't used to get like in trouble for it.
Yep, hammered
we'd
for
post
it.
the videos, and it sort of blew our night up because effectively it was like 25% of the people there were strippers, and it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. But because we were like really pushing on it to promote the fact that that's what it was.
Yep.
Liquor licensing came in and kind of gave us a bit of a spank because it was doing porno parties and doing all this shit and rah rah. And then the fourth
crazy.
one, I can't remember the fourth one now, but
Fucking
it was 4 out of
killjoys.
11 in Victoria was me. I was like, I don't know if I should be proud or ashamed.
They're happy to take taxes from it, but
Yeah.
don't enjoy it.
That's even, man. We deal with this thing called ABAC. It's like a body, basically tell you what you can and can't do.
Yep.
So we have heaps of dramas with them with G up. They hate us, like hate me. And you can't advertise someone under 25. Alcohol vessel can't be open near water or cars. You can't show chicks in bikinis if they're holding the bottle. So even Troy got in trouble for his wife
Yep.
drinking one by the pool. Like she was just drinking it in his story or whatever.
Yeah.
He got in trouble for that. So you can't do all these things. And that body ABAC, they just basically like, they come to us and like, this appeals to minors and this does this and this does this. And I'm like, well, fuck, this is not made to be outside of a bottle shop.
Exactly.
So why can't we advertise that name? Or why can't we advertise something that's a bit more raunchy? It's like, it's all black out the windows of the bottle shop. Yeah, kids can see into it. It's like, shouldn't it be on the bottle shop owners or the liquor licensing court or whatever?
Yep.
To sort of stop these appeal and do whatever. It's like, it shouldn't be really, I don't believe, on us, like on the label, because at the end of the day, like we're not trying to promote to kids. We're trying to promote to
Exactly.
adults in a place that's 18 plus to purchase. It's like,
Or private venues.
yeah. So I'm like, I don't really understand why there's so many like nanny state rules around branding and alcohol and all that kind of stuff when we're all adults buying it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
100%.
yeah. And then you're like, fucking, then the other one is like Hard Solo and Bilson and shit. Like they're full blown.
Yeah, well, they've changed now, haven't they?
They had to. That was the same body that gets
Apparently
us.
kids were grabbing the cans and...
I can kind of see that one though.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Hard Solo, it fucking looked like Solo. Yeah, like it's,
Yeah, I guess
Well,
when
they
it's
still
out
use
of the
the
bottle
Solo.
shop and sitting in the fridge at someone's house.
Yeah.
And a kid goes to grab it. I guess, but
yeah, insane. It's like leaves that on the parent. Yeah, like where does it buck stop? Sort
Yeah.
of
At
thing.
least you know your kid's going to sleep well.
Yeah.
hey,
Those things are pretty good. I shouldn't say it on live, but yeah, they're pretty yum. Those things.
They are good. They are good.
They're the number one seller in Australia at the moment.
Are they?
Yep.
Really?
They're dominating everybody.
How's G Up going?
Killing it. Like we're in a growth period still, so we're still sort of like
Yep.
breaking records.
Still going. Yeah.
Recently we did.
Billboards everywhere now, Avery.
Yeah, we did. We are doing billboards, doing that sort of stuff. We got a new flavour coming out in probably like 5-6 weeks. Doing an
Seen
island
that.
party for it,
Yep.
which is a fun thing to get to organise.
Where's that?
It'll be in Gold Coast somewhere.
wants the live stream?
Probably
maybe.
Wayfrake Island.
They yeah, it's like that's one of the cool things about knocking around with those dudes and having
Yeah.
the party background is that they're like, oh, I want to do a party and I just get to organise it. So I
Yeah,
did that penthouse
it's good.
one. Did you say that one?
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
yeah,
That was good.
Jeez.
Was
was
that in
great.
Adrian's?
No, so story. It's kind of an interesting story, but basically we actually had it in a mansion in this place called Harkway. So it's
Yep.
like Dandenong overlooks the city, and it was going to be way more hectic. Like so, we had helicopters coming in. We'd wrap jet skis and go karts,
Yep.
all this shit. Like there was going to be Ferraris coming through.
Yep.
Then, as Melbourne does, it basically was like there's going to be 20 mil of rain. So we're kind of watching it. But this thing looked like a Colombian mansion. Like that's the look of like
Yep.
the house. So we booked it all out. Everything was done. Like the go karts were wrapped. Everything was ready to go.
Yep.
And then the weather just kept getting worse and worse and worse. So then on the Wednesday, I'm like, we're gonna have to cancel this. And then to be fair, I didn't want to cancel it. And then I was like, I found 3 other venues, like wedding venues. And Troy's like, no, we're not doing it at a wedding venue. He's like, I want it to be a spot. If I'm going to do this, it needs to be somewhere no one's ever been. It's got to be
Yeah.
like something that's talk. So he's fucking unbelievable with that. Like the amount of times I'm like, nah, I reckon we'll do this. Like I want to take the easy route. And he'll be like, sort of talk about what he wants to do. And then we pull it off and he's right. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but it's fucking all the time. Yeah. Like
Yep.
he really knows his audience. Like nobody understands
Yeah.
their audience better than him, in my opinion, that I've ever met.
Yeah, true.
And so he sort of said, it has to be in this random location, blah, blah. So then a drug dealer that I have known in my network, I'd seen him do these penthouse parties. And I was like, how can I get them? So I sort of figured out like how he did it. Like I didn't go to approach him, but I sort of figured out how he's done it. And I'm like, he's been hitting up real estate agents and asking to hire these penthouses directly from the real estate agents, from the owners and whatever.
Yep.
So then I started hitting up different owners and I should say realtors or whatever the term is. And I found one pretty quickly, and he was like, "Yeah, I got a space in West Melbourne. You can take access to it. They want 10 grand, I think it was, or maybe more than that. I think it was like 13. He's like, you can have it. You can run this party in this warehouse." So this is like a full fucking apartment building in Melbourne. I was like, cool. Went and looked at it on the Wednesday night, and I had 48 hours to turn it around. So then we paid the money to the guy. They gave me the keys, cleaned it, and then I just went in there with my team, and we just like pinkified it. Yeah, like, so I
it was
built
sick.
Yeah, I
It
built
was laid out well.
heaps of lighting, like all fucking never what they call shears, like all shears and shit like that to make it good. Did whatever, and then we just transformed it in 24 hours. So no one even knew that they were meant to go to another location because it was a secret location.
Yeah.
So they just got the email on Friday saying this is the location. But
Like
they
a
weren't
secret
even
car meet.
Yeah, so they weren't even aware that it changed.
Yeah.
And then so they came there and it was mad. It was like exactly kind of, I guess, what they wanted. There was, you could do whatever you want. Yeah,
It
like
looked
say
good.
As you
It
can
looked
imagine,
fucking unreal.
it was like they wanted it to be wild. It was. We had the brothers play, like these big Sydney rapper dudes, and then we had these like Melbourne royalty guys called Orchestrator play. So that everyone got around. It was fucking every influencer, porn star, everything from all over Australia came down, and we ended up selling like $150,000 worth of stock the next day off the back of it. So again, like that was my model, but my model was like, okay, cool. Well, Troy's like, we want to throw a party, and then my job is to like work out how I'm going to monetize his concept. Does that make sense? So
100%.
And get something out of the back end.
yeah,
Well, you
so
got it.
because when we first started, we would just do shit just cause. Yeah, and so we'd be like, fuck it, I will just do this. So then
Becomes expensive.
yeah, and then it's like, and Troy's got wicked ideas because he's a fucking unbelievable branding guy. And then it's my job from Oscar, who's like CEO, is to come in and go, cool, like collect that idea and then work out how we're going to monetize that in the business. So when we did that, I'm like, yeah, cool, we'll organise this party, organise it for him, do whatever. And then the idea was I was like, okay, well, on Sunday after the party, so all the influencers are going to share and shit, which they did. It's going to create hype because no one knew what flavour it was until that day. So it's that day. On Sunday, we're going to share the video. Monday, the tabloids picked it up and they sort of started saying like, you know, Adrian throws party, wild party, police came, rah, rah.
Yeah.
Even that was a carry on. Like the police did rock up and they're like, what time are you finishing? We're like, 11. They're like, yeah, no drama.
See you later.
Yeah, so that was it. And it was like, police, at 10.
You really should have
Penthouse
got them
party.
in there with a G up in the hand.
Yeah, I should have. Missed opportunity.
Yes.
And then, so we closed it all up, but it was fucking cool though. Like you literally walked in and it was an apartment building. And then I had like this pink flamingo chick dressed up. Walked to her, she fobbed you up. When the doors opened, there was another pink flamingo chick and you could see boom, 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 boom. Then she'd walk into the apartment building into like a door. You'd open it, it looked like just like a hotel room. And then it was this fucking giant penthouse party all rigged out. And
It looked mad.
It was sick. And I was like, cool, but now I'm
It's
going to
well
top
done.
it.
Very well done.
Now I'm going to top it in June. So,
Yeah, you're making it hard for yourself. You've got to get better and better.
yeah, I know. I've got some good ideas, but it's not the worst job when someone's like, cool, you got to top this thing. Like, what's your idea? And like, me and Troy just bounce off and I'm like, island party, bro. He's like, I'm like, I've done one before. This is what it looked like. This is how we're going to do it. And then we just pull off the impossible. Yeah, like we sort of just sit there and go, fuck, all right, how do we get an island? Which sounds like such a crazy question, but like we did in like 24 hours. We're like, cool, got an island. All right, what's wrong with this island? We need power on it. Cool, now we're going to figure out how to get power on this island. And we just sort of figured it out. And so now all the pieces are there. Got to pick a date and we'll sort of start rolling it out.
We'll make sure before we finish up today, we'll give you our email address.
Yeah, you're welcome
so
to
the
come.
secret email.
If you come up to Gold Coast, you guys are
You'll
welcome
get
to
this
come.
at 8:59 p.m. that night.
Yeah.
That's the thing, like power of those boys, not me.
Yeah.
Like if I was to run it, I probably could, but not to the in the budget.
Yeah.
That because they'll just like I'll be like, it's fucking wild. I'm like, dude, I'm trying to get this on, I can't get one.
Yeah.
Can you put a post up asking for an island? And then like Troy will be like, here's 10 contacts for islands. You know, like I need a catamaran that holds 150 people. He's 100. He's just like that reach they've got is fucking insane.
Yeah.
So every time you have
Especially
a
on the
problem,
Goldie now.
Yeah,
like
or
Troy's
just
obviously
anywhere,
based
though.
there now, and Adrian, I think, just bought a new house there. So
it's just
they're-
anywhere. Like anytime we have an issue, it's just like we only do it if we're desperate. But we just get him to post, and it's just like straight away someone will figure
Straight
it out
up.
and solve it. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, his reach as well. You look at his social media, his reach, puts it out, boom.
Yeah.
Roofers, whatever he's doing with his house and what have you, it's just instant.
Yeah, and
It's mad reach.
It's fucking insane. It's like cool to be able to do that. Like I've done it before. I've run out on parties. I've done stuff in like castles. I've done all crazy shit.
Yeah.
It's just been more challenging. But when you're like, Troy's the one giving the lead.
Yeah.
It's fucking how high do you need us to jump? Yeah, and so it's just a different conversation. But it's cool. Like, and then I've done other stuff for other brands. We do Grog, which are these massive YouTubers called Cold Ones. So I do their parties and stuff. So it's like, and then obviously my brand now is fucking me talking about owning nightclubs and partying and stuff. So I'm in this position where who knows what the next part of my journey looks like. You know, like at the moment, I'll end up being a party planner from billionaires.
Well, let's
It's not
see.
off the cards.
I don't know whether you're definitely going to be. Have you got that footage there?
I've got some
I
footage.
don't know whether you're going to be a radio star or not. Hey,
I mean, it's not your first radio though, bro, is it?
Nah, it's not. It's actually not my first radio.
We can't hear the audio, but they can.
It's me saying bucket, fucking bucket.
it was that. Did it hurt?
To be honest, I'll go into it. So basically, how this transpired, firstly, and then I'll get to that part. But there you go. This is the better angle.
Yeah, this is the angle I like.
Oh, this is when I start shadowboxing. See, that's $3, man. That's $3. Might have been a microsecond, but it's still $3. Give me my flowers, please. Come on. Come on, dog. Yeah, that was good, man. That was fucking cool experience. So yeah, basically how that started. Is it? Well, I'll be talking over the audio now.
Yep.
No. Yeah. So basically, I was with mates in Lilydale down in Melbourne.
Yep.
And it was a mate's birthday, and we're watching the rodeo. And again, like reality for me and for others is probably a different stretch. Like I'll see something and it's like, because I guess in saying that, like I can throw a penthouse party in 48 hours. I can do an island party. So it's like, if I come up with a crazy idea, I'm fucking pretty lucky that I can make it happen. That makes sense. I've got the ability to make things happen. So I basically saw it, which is probably a dumb way to get there. But I was like watching these people ride rodeo and I was like, fuck, I'd love to give that a go. And then I'm like, I reckon I could figure this out.
The
So
adrenaline would fucking pump. I reckon.
It was wild. But so on that, so I'm watching it in Lilydale, and then I literally messaged Cam Lowry from Alpha Blokes.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, bro, because we speak a bit. So I used to give them stock when they first started, and then they blew up. And then those boys just fucking good lads. So they just supported me forever. Like they drink my stuff. I won't say anything. They just drink stuff on camera all the time. They give it to people and blah, blah. And it's solely because I gave it to them before they were big. So I was supporting them early days. And then because of that, like we kind of just internet friends before, but now we're like kind of met up and they're fucking awesome dudes. So I messaged him. I was like, hey, do you know anyone that I could ride? I'm going to Gladstone in, what month is it now? April. And I was like, do you know anyone that could hook me up on a fucking bull? And he's like, yeah. He's like, I got some dudes that ride PBR, like pro rodeo. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, cool, sweet. So then he locked it in, whatever. He said it's all good. And then I didn't really think about it. And then as it kind of drew closer, funnily enough, 2 weeks beforehand, there was another rodeo. So I went to watch his other rodeo. And this one, they weren't as nice, the cows, like the fucking bulls. And I'm like, what the fuck have I done? Like these things like
Did it have horns? I didn't see. It had horns or no?
Yeah, did it? I don't think so, no.
Can't remember.
So then I watched that and I was like, fuck. And then I'm like, can't back out now because then they'd messaged me basically that same day going,
I'd be shitting.
hey, do you want to do the pod the same day? And then we'll make a little vlog, whatever. So at that point, I'm like, well, I can't back down. Yeah, like I'm like, I'm gonna look
committed.
Yeah, like they've got a fucking filmographer, they've organised all this stuff, they've done blah blah blah. So then we fly up there, and strangely enough, I was not nervous. Like I don't know how, but I wasn't nervous, and really, kind of at all, like crazy. And I think I'd accepted that I was gonna hurt myself.
Yep.
So I was like, I'm gonna break a bone.
It's gonna happen.
I'm gonna knock myself out or whatever. So when I got there, I was sort of hoping we'd do the pod first.
Yeah.
And then
Just in case you end up
in hospital.
And then they were like,
podcast.
we're gonna head out to thingy. So and then we'll do the pod or hospital. And I was like, fucking hopefully not hospital, but so we went out there. It was like midday, whatever. The people that had me on the farm, it was kind of the people who owned it, but there's another guy called Taran who took me out there. But they were like the most lovely people, man. There was like 20 people, and I didn't realise they were all out to watch me get fucked up.
So maybe
they're not that lovely.
There was a few there.
They all came down to watch it, but I thought that was like a normal Saturday.
Yeah.
It was only afterwards they told me, no. We
They
went
all come to watch.
We went to watch this idiot from Melbourne come and get bucked up a bull. And so then they were all lovely, and they were just like jam me up and whatever. And then I just kind of didn't really like you'll see if you watch the video eventually as it comes out, like the whole thing. But I just was committed that I was going to hurt myself, and that everything was kind of good. Like I guess fucking lucky out from X-Rider in a sense. And I was just like, this is what it is. It's an experience. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity. Like you should be fucking grateful.
It's good content.
Yeah, good content. But I'm like, you should be grateful that you've got this opportunity. And then I was like, so I was, and then they were just fucking with me flat out. So they were basically saying, you're gonna ride this one. It was bigger. And these people. But before I was watching these dudes getting slammed into they were calling it snugged, I think, and it was like smashed into shit, and the fucking bulls are picking them up. And I'm like. I was like, fucking
You're
hell.
shitting bricks. I seen in the race when you were on, your eyes were like dinner plates.
Yeah, 100%, man. So
The adrenaline was pure.
So I just put my mouth guard in, jumped on, and I was like, fucking bucket, like literally, and then it went. But I was committed to doing it. And then going back to, did it hurt me? No, like I don't know how, because I felt pretty bad, but I was fine.
Yeah, I
felt
felt went down on your neck and head.
I think I hit my shoulder first, and then I fell. Because even afterwards, they were like, you're right. And I was like a little bit like out of it for probably 20 minutes, like just like second guessing if I was concussed. But I came good. And then I was just happy I didn't break anything. But even before, the dude Taryn, he goes, I said, what do you reckon the chances are of me breaking something? He goes, I'll go 50-50. And he's like,
that's good odds.
And he goes, nah, way worse than that. And he wasn't joking.
Weren't you in a construction hard hat?
Yeah, I'll get to that in a second. And he goes, and I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, mate, it's the only sport in the world where even if you win, you crash.
Yeah, exactly. True story.
So I got out of it lucky, whatever. But the hard hat thing was they were not going to put me in a helmet because my head was too big to fit in the helmet. And I'm like, nah, fuck that. Like, I'm wearing a helmet. And then I didn't know because I'm not a tradie. So my mates have now told me since that those hard hats protect nothing.
Yeah.
And then so he's like, got a hard hat. And I was like, yeah, give me that then. So I thought it was going to protect my noggin, but apparently that's what made it funnier. So everyone loved that I wore a hard hat.
Yeah, I think that's what caught me. Trade is what I do when just to see. I was like, that's like a Yankee hard hat that they see on oil rigs and stuff, and it kind of fitted with it because it's that
the guy
country
just had it in his boot, man. Like it was literally like they were like, got a hard hat. I was like, yeah, that'll do. Chucked it on because it fit on my head.
Would have made it better for sure.
Yeah,
but yeah, in regards to adrenaline, like I've amateur boxed. These are like the 4 things that have been the most adrenaline I've done. So amateur boxed, skydive, fucking bungee jump, whatever.
Yep.
And bull riding, and I'd say it's number 2. So like
Really?
for adrenaline, it was like amateur boxing, my first ever fight. Like it kind of wears off pretty quickly.
Yep.
But the first one, I was like, I thought I was dreaming. Like I was like, the adrenaline on that was fucked. That was number 2. So
what about if Lance will see this after, but you've seen during our show, Freestyle Kings. So,
I like where you're going with this.
Yeah, so we're in Melbourne next year for Cap City. What about if we put you on the back of Lance for a backflip?
Fucking hell, man.
We'll do it in practice, obviously.
I think so.
Don't want to put you out
I
on the
probably
show.
would do it. Is it better chances of 50-50 or
Look,
what?
I haven't got the footage, but what I'll do...
Seeing as though you haven't ever done it,
Yeah.
I would say you're probably sitting on the ladder of the bull riding thing because he's used to having another guy on the back, so weighted different, you'll hang on different. So, yeah, I reckon we'll talk to Josh, and I reckon in
My
Melbourne...
missus' wife says no. I feel sorry for her. I didn't tell her about the bull riding. And to be fair, I was like, had my GoPro. I thought it was going to be this good moment for the content. And I'm like, yeah, babe, I'm going bull riding tomorrow. She's like, what? I was like, I'm going bull riding tomorrow. She's like, you're an idiot. Like, she didn't care at all. I was like, fuck, poor her. Like, some of the stuff I say. There you go, backflip next year. I thought, how am I going to outdo this? But you guys have just brought me on.
Yeah,
So you guys can't
why
see
not?
the footage, but I got the footage of Lance doing a backflip with someone on the back.
What the fuck?
So what do you reckon, bro? You'll lock it in?
I'm pretty keen on that.
Yeah, I reckon we'll get you 2 rehearsals in Melbourne for,
Dude, fuck
at
me.
Rod Laver next year.
What was the guy we were talking about before that?
I'll try and I don't know if you guys will be able to see, probably not, but
Yeah, you can see it, yeah.
It's our tandem set up during our show, so yeah.
That'd be fucking insane.
Yep.
That is a cool one to add. Like, and even when I did the rodeo, the only reason why I really wanted to do it was just so I could give my mates shit about not doing it.
Yep.
So it's like all I've been saying is like, I don't know if you've seen the content I've been getting around, but I'm like, I did like a one where I was wearing like undies pulled up my ass, and I was with the whips, and I was like, it was like my impression of cowboys and dirt ride rodeo.
Because I was scrolling, I was like, ooh,
Yeah.
what the fuck is
And
he
I'm
up
like,
to
pew,
now?
pew. I'm like, oh, howdy, partners.
And touching on it, that's probably after I'd met yous in Perth, and then I started following yous and stuff. That was what attracted me to get to know you more, was some of the random shit and the way you portray it as it is shit that happens in normal life.
Yeah.
But it's kind of skimmed over, you know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, and that, like, for anyone that's on here that hasn't seen it.
On that, it's like the other thing I forgot to say, stand-up comedy. So I've done stand-up comedy.
Really?
Yeah, so I've done it like a bunch of times, like probably over 10. That beats all of them.
Yeah.
That is fucked. Like
For
when
me,
you're
I reckon
literally
the
doing it.
nerves.
Yeah, like I'll show you a video like after. Literally doing it, you'll think I'm not nervous.
Yep.
I couldn't even remember what I said. Yeah, and like I was fucked. Like, and I did it like, I think I probably did it 7 times and never got better. So like when I did amateur boxing, I did like, by the time I did 3, I didn't even care.
Yep.
Rodeo, I've only done one, so I can't really comment, but we'll see. but even like skydiving, I did the second time, wasn't scary. Like I couldn't get over it. I couldn't beat that one.
Yeah.
And I was like doing all right. Like I was doing well. Like I was getting laughs and stuff. And obviously you've seen some of the shit I put up. And I love to have a joke. I'm definitely a joker. But it's just, I couldn't beat it. Like I was like, and it's fucking, I'm pretty out there. Like I don't mind having a chat. And it's just like, it was just making me, every time I go there, I'd just be like, I'll be sweating until I got up there and then I just fucking wig out. Yeah.
And see, for me, I live for that when I go, when I step out into a stadium.
I don't reckon I could MC either.
I live for that feeling, and I feel
You got to be quick.
if I don't have that feeling anymore, then I probably won't be an announcer anymore.
So how's like, that's kind of good for me. I guess throwing it back to you, but it's like for me, I know what I'm going to say, and it's sort of what I had to do was I had to go over and over and over and over again and say it like fucking 100 times, so that I was an autopilot. If that makes sense. So I always think, because people always say to me, they're like, "Oh, do you want to MC this?" And I can't do it. Like, physically, it's not a thing for me. And I'm pretty witty and pretty good talker and whatever.
Yep.
And I'm good on camera, but I can't do it in. Like I can't do it off the cusp. Yeah, because I'm always worried I'm going to tangle my words or whatever. And I'm obviously saying you do it, but like, do you get scared or not?
It's not about getting scared. I suppose, like I've said to Dion, is people pay for their tickets to a show, and same with your clubs. You want people to have the experience that they spend a week earning that money to take their family or travelling. So to me, my main thing when I'm, suiting up ready to go out to do the show is I got to make sure I'm doing my best to sell these guys and this production that we have to those people who spent their hard-earned money. So,
Which
and you
to
know how
some
you
people-
said you turn around and like pre-rehearse.
Yeah.
I make sure I have a sleep before the show.
Yeah.
I've got a ritual. Kenny bags me. There's plenty of photos on the internet of me asleep in the corner
I've
somewhere.
got some here. No, I don't. I've
Fucking
got
hell,
it on my
man.
phone.
I have to clear my
I
head.
would not be able to sleep.
Yeah.
I have to clear
Adrenaline.
it. So I go out there with literally nothing in my head. So I go off the crowd to start the show. To
You still get a pump out of it?
oh,
You do
every
still?
time. Like I'm standing there with the microphone behind the ramps, ready for the opening part of the show, and to walk up but I never. And it's not that I'm complacent. It's only one time in my whole career is in Adelaide back in 2005 when I actually saw the crowd and I was like, wow, there's a lot of people.
Well, because you
here.
would have done like 10,000 plus before, right?
Yeah.
What's the biggest you've done?
Yeah.
Would be probably probably 20, I suppose.
Yeah.
At Adelaide or
That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And just
Yeah,
walking out
fuck.
of the tunnel, I think for me would be,
Yeah.
shit's real now. We're out here.
Yeah.
We've got to go.
And you're live too. It's not like you can rehearse. You can't rehearse
Yeah.
live. Yeah, like
And you got an earpiece. You got people in your ear.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're
Going
telling
on.
you next set, this, that. But a lot of the time, which you got to remember, you know your job. They're coming to see the show, and most of them have not seen it
true.
before.
Good point.
So if you mince something up, you just move on.
Yeah.
Yep.
What a lot of people get caught up is they try to go back and fix
Yeah, I get you.
the mistake. Just
So
roll
fucking
over
up
it.
twice.
Yeah.
Just roll
Yeah.
over it and just keep going. They don't know that you said that trick was a whatever when really it's a that.
Yeah,
you know?
it's one of those. I read this stat where it's like 10% of people's thoughts are about other people than themselves, and and that helps me a lot when I'm doing camera stuff or content or
Yeah.
whatever. I'm like, at the end of the day, if they don't like it, let's push up. Yeah, like it doesn't affect their life. It's like
Yeah.
in my head, I'm like, do I look like this or whatever? It's like the reality of it is that they're too busy thinking about if they look fucking fat in the mirror. Yeah, and so
Yeah.
it's like they got other dramas. It's interesting you say that thing about the like these people paid for it.
Yeah.
because I used to do that. Like when with the DJ stuff or whatever, even with my boys, I'm always like, we got to go. Doesn't matter if you feel sick. Doesn't matter whatever it is. It's like these people are here, and they paid money to come here.
Exactly.
You have to like do the best you possibly can for them. Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
about you. It's like they've paid, and we got to put a show on for them. So it's funny to hear you say that because that's the same mentality I've always had when it comes to anyone that I've worked as an entertainer or even myself.
Yep.
It's like you're fucking gifted this opportunity to be able to do this, have
Yeah.
this experience. The least you can do is give it back to them.
Yeah,
like,
100%. Give it everything, or even more than you've got.
Yeah.
I finished a show. There's a photo from that Perth gig, and where I was with Troy and Adrian, and I was, I look like Jimmy Barnes. I'm all weathered and all rolled over because I give it absolutely everything I got.
Yeah.
Until the end.
Yeah.
And I'm not a young
I don't know
man.
how you don't lose your voice.
Yeah.
or break
Right.
a hip or something because I'm old.
Well, you're up in the ramps and shit too, eh?
Yeah, I'm
I've seen him climb
my
the ramp.
My gut gets in the road for that one. There's been a few times where I've winded myself.
Yeah.
And I'm up there and I'm about to interview one of the boys and I'm like, like this, and then get the microphone and have a chat to them. Hopefully they talk longer so I can get my breath back and stuff. Yeah, so I'm an athlete. I'm a real athlete.
Yeah.
Yep.
But MCing's an art, man. Like, it's 100% an art.
I
There's a
fell
difference between being
into it.
good at it and not. Yeah, how did you get into it?
I started my own freestyle team because I was one of the importers for Krusty pit bikes back in the day.
Yeah.
So I was at, was at Rod Laver and had our pit bikes out the front for Krusty shows. And I ended up selling, here in Canberra, I ended up selling probably 50 in my suburb.
Yep.
And each night I'd be out the back. I used to smoke. I'd be out the back having a smoke and I could hear mini bike everywhere. And then I'd hear him come up my street. I'm like, then someone would turn up and go, oh, I broke a clutch lever. I broke this. I broke that. So, yeah, I just started a shop out of home selling parts and then had all these guys just riding around the suburbs and they were getting in trouble.
Yep.
So monster trucks come to town. So I got onto the promoter. I said, look, I got 50 guys. Let's have a mock-up race at your monster truck show. And long story short, I end up with a nice career with that promoter.
No shit.
Traveling around Australia
With the mini bikes?
With mini bikes. And then I was like, because I was bringing in dirt to each one for ramps. And I was like, it's got to be easier. I've got to have something I can tow.
Yeah.
So I bought a portable setup for mini bikes off my friend ARD Dion in Melbourne. And that just blew up.
Yeah.
I was making more money on the weekends than what I was doing in my job during the week.
No shit.
And I was just traveling around. And then next thing you know, Showtime, Gary, he lived here at the time.
Yep.
And he said, come to my house. And like everything about him is a bit like Dion. He doesn't do anything in halves. So he's like, I'll meet you at the pub. I'm like, okay. So we go down to the pub. Next thing he rocks up in this Can-Am thing and it's got cambers, it's got 22s on it, slammed on the ground. It's got suede leather seats in it, all this sort of stuff in a nice blue colour. He's like, righto, come on, we're going to my house. And it's not registered or anything. And we're just driving this thing to his house. And, yeah, he basically offered me a job on the spot to run Showtime. And that sort of – and the whole time, back to my freestyle team, I just was there and I was just talking about,
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, you
the
know what you're
passion
talking
of it.
about. Yeah.
Yeah, and then that in turn got me to Gary. And then, next thing, I'm 2,000 shows down, I think now.
Hell, wow.
Yeah, 2,000 like acts, I suppose,
Yeah.
because you have Adelaide and they're back-to-back days.
Yeah,
so
of course, yeah.
I think I started in 04, I think, and here I am now. I had a break. I got run over at Movie World during an act there with Showtime.
Yeah, wow.
Kane Saul ran me over during the show, jumped off the side, hit me, broke some ribs, fractured my jaw, tore my foot, basically nearly off. Yeah, and so from that point, Gary moved everything to Queensland, and I just decided I'm just going to stop,
Yeah.
And then along comes Josh with
Fall back into it.
and he said, "Do you want to be part of it?" And I'm having more fun with that. Yeah, and my voice, I think being older, my voice, it doesn't break anymore. Like I can do back-to-back shows. I've learned how to look after it.
Don't
And
scream
it's less
stuff,
physical
yeah.
too. Less
Yeah.
physical.
It's great. Yeah, I'm not in a truck traveling down the highway to go to the next show. It's a production. And
Yeah, I
I
get you,
guess
yeah.
that's what I would always wanted to get a part of. And
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's now, yeah.
Cool
But that's my
opportunity.
rant. It's not about me. You're here.
I'm the one that asked for it. I don't want to know the story. I love fucking stories. Even when I was out for breakfast before with my mate, he's the BMX dude I was talking about. And I'm like, bro, we're just talking and we're going back through all the stories of people. And I'm like, dude, there's some fucking cool people out there. And he's like, yeah, 100%. But like, that's the truth. You know? Like, there's so many cool
Well, did
people
you
out
see this
there.
one?
It's good to hear
you
the
didn't see our
stories.
podcast. You're a promoter, music, all
Yeah,
that sort
yeah.
of stuff. And, we got
This
a
is a
grotty
good
box.
story.
This is a grotty box that we bring out for the show. So this right here, I got it off Vanilla Ice.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
his
so
personal
Simon,
one.
That's sick.
It's his personal one. So if you look at the podcast from last episode, I basically lied years ago and said I was part of a magazine.
Yep.
And I hit up his manager, which is his DJ, the Chopsticks, DJ Chopsticks. Is
Yeah.
his,
I don't know, DJ Chopstick.
That's his DJ that runs all his music. Anyway, I said I was part of this motorbike magazine because I knew he was into bikes, and I wanted to do an interview with him. And he's like, "Yeah, no dramas." So I drove to Wagga.
No shit.
Went to rehearsals with him, and then I become friends with him. So
Who Vanilla Ice or
yeah,
Chopsticks?
yeah,
Did
no,
you?
both of them. Yeah,
That's
so,
a bad story.
Chopsticks.
So I've done a few. He's done the V Festival when they used to be on.
Yeah.
And then I Love the 90s tour.
Yep.
I went to that, took my kids. He gave me backstage.
That's
Went watch
funny, yeah.
Rise
Did he
Against
find out
with
you
him.
weren't a?
Yeah, I told him years
Did you?
later. He's like, to him, it didn't matter because
got to
Chopsticks
know
looks
you
after
too.
everything. So, however, he didn't care. So, yeah.
That's cool. And that's one of those things. Like even you're telling your story now, how you fall into shit, man. But like this is a wild one for me. But I was the support DJ for Bliss and Esso's tour 2 years ago, and I fell into it. So I was like, legitimately, I had an artist who was playing on the support. This guy called Melbourne, artist called Melbourne. I shouldn't say guy, but
Yeah, he's good.
And, yeah, great, fucking great artist. Anyway, so I was doing the tour with him, and we were doing like the shows. We roll up to Torquay for the first one, and I booked a DJ for him, and then the support after. And so I've got no intention at all of playing. Haven't played for like 3-4 years, whatever. Get there, guy messaged me saying, hey, because he didn't know Blitz and Esso because he's younger. So he's like, hey mate, can't make it, rah. And I'm like, fuck, what are we gonna do?
Yep.
I scab a USB off someone and I pump the tunes in there, and I'm like, fuck it. So I'm the support backup DJ for Melbourne, and then I'm the DJ after for Bliss and Esso, support DJ for Bliss and Esso.
That's nuts.
For their tour. And I was playing like, I think the biggest one we did was like fucking 2,000 people. Yeah, like, so I just fell into it. So on literally Thursday afternoon, don't know I'm going to do it. And then I end up doing 7 days back to back to back. I think it was 7 days or something like that.
Shit.
Back to back to back. But it's like, if you're not open to fall into random opportunities, then you don't get to live them.
Yeah.
You know, like, and that was fucking pretty cool experience. But I just fell straight into it. So then I'm saying I wasn't scared of MCing, but I was doing the backup tracks behind him. Like when you're in the moment, you forget pretty quickly. Like the nerves go out the window. Yeah, and so
It does, yeah.
Once
when
you start having that good time, I feel too. Like once you start and you it's just like cutting the strings.
it gets
and
addictive.
you're in. Yeah.
Yeah, I like love. Like and I guess that's what I've been sort of doing now. But any opportunity, man. Like anyone's like, oh, you want to fucking do this random thing? We're gonna go here. I'm like, yes. Yeah, like because it's like once you've done it once, it's sort of like you got to keep finding those.
Yeah.
Like otherwise, you're not fulfilling your own life. Yeah.
No.
Like,
Yeah.
And I think that's where you get these people that do these crazy stuff and have these crazy stories.
Yep.
It's like they've had one and they're like, how do I replicate another one of them, another one of them, another one of them? It's like I don't want to get to a point where eventually they stop. Yeah. Like so, if anything comes up, any opportunity that I think is going to be kind of cool, and like that's where I think I'm probably different than a normal business guy. Like if something comes up to me and someone's like, do you want to do this? I won't necessarily look at it and go, monetary doesn't make sense. I'm like, that'd be fucking sick.
Yeah.
So I'll do that for free because it'll be super fun.
It's a bit of a challenge too.
Yeah, like I'm like, oh, can I do this? Yeah, like I did like another one which is random. Now I'm going off, but I ran barbecue competitions. You know, like the
the pit boss, like
yeah,
smoke.
like meat stock. So I did
meat stock.
Yeah, I did one called BBQ Festival in Yarrawonga and southeast Melbourne.
Yep.
And I had Shannon Noel as the headliner. And we did like
Nosy.
3.5 at one and 4,000 the other one. And then I ran the KCBS barbecue competition. So I
way.
basically did like a crash course in it, figured out how to do it, was in contact with Kansas City, got my licenses, the whole lot. And I ran a full, I think it was like 32 team barbecue thing.
Holy
and
shit.
I fucking
That's
copped
like
it.
a meat stock.
Yeah, like I ran like a mini meat stock, and it was just like that. I guess I'm a person of extremes, but I was like, love barbecue. Went to meat stock. Was like, I wonder if I can do this. Ran this thing. Didn't make a buck off it. Like, and I was just like,
But you did it.
yeah. And I got the trophies, set it all up, ran the competition. Like whatever they did, I did 2 of them, and then I was like, the boys loved it, because they normally just go into like a paddock somewhere. This one was like full bands, the whole lot. Like it was over the top. COVID's what shut it down. I would have continued it otherwise, but I was just like, I wonder if I can. Yeah. So most of my ideas I come up with, legitimately, like I did another one called Food Truck Carnival, which was the biggest food truck, or not food, it was the biggest food festival in the Southern Hemisphere. So I did 500,000 people over summer.
Holy
and legitimately, it was me going, eating in a food truck, going, fuck, this is delicious. Imagine if you could go to a place that had 50 of them. And there was 50 food trucks. And there was like carnivals and fucking circus performers. And then I'm like, I put it together. So most of my ideas come from me like liking something and then being like, how can I make this extreme? That makes sense.
What a great idea, because meat stock and all them, you can only eat 2 or 3 bits in the day.
Yeah.
Because you're full.
Man,
but if you had
that guy
one
dominates.
back to back,
So
you can
my
go,
one was that
this
with
one, this
Jay's
one,
name
this
is Jay Beaumont, but my one was which like I can't just too busy now to go back to it, but it was like mine was meat stock, but it was a festival, so like it was beer. It was called BBQ. So it was craft brewers, and then it was a barbecue comp with barbecue, and then we had Shannon or Dale Braithwaite or whatever afterwards. So it was effectively a music festival that had that connected to it.
Yeah.
And that's where I was going. So like meat stock in Melbourne, apparently in every other state it's fucking wild, but in Melbourne by 6 p.m. everyone's gone. Oh. But apparently in like Toowoomba and Sydney, it's like a full proper party.
Yeah, they have a day ticket and a night ticket.
Yeah,
for
so
Sydney.
they don't. It's just haven't been able to get that in Melbourne. So my one was like, oh, how can I almost do now? Like it's like if you could do a country festival, you could do whatever, you could add to it. So, but as you go along, it can continue. And like obviously, I did my festival last March, Hello Sunshine.
Yeah. How's that going too?
Cool, we did 10,000 people at
Looks
it,
big.
which is great. Yeah, so it's like we're still building it. Obviously, it's like foundations, which is, I know it's crazy to say 10,000 is foundations, but it is.
Yep.
But again, it's like the food truck carnival. I've experienced that. I did it. We closed it down. I sold it. But it's like I've got 32 trucks there. Yeah, and I've still set that up with the carnival part. So that part's there. And then I've got BBQ, which was the live element. So I had last year, we had like Grinderz, Veronica's, Bliss and Esso, but like a pretty decent lineup. So
Amy
cool.
Shark.
Got that. And then and then I understand the entertainment part of it. So I had Cam Sinclair from FMX at the background. So it's like without all these things, I don't get to this part. If that makes sense. So and I get a lot of people will be like, how'd you get into that? How'd you learn that? I'm like, just doing, dude.
Just do it.
Yeah, just like figuring it out, fall in your face a few times and you figure it out. Yeah, and you can only get better. Like I've got this massive thing where I say, there's nothing you can't do 100 times you won't get better at. Yeah, like so if you fucking run 100 times, you're gonna run further. Yeah, like if you're gonna run 100 events, eventually you're gonna crack it because you're gonna figure it out. Yeah, and so there's nothing in my opinion in life which is maybe like a bit of a wild way of thinking, but it's got me where I am now.
Yeah,
where it's like, well, if I keep trying, it's gonna work. Yeah, and so if I want it to work.
Exactly.
Just got to keep trying.
Just keep pushing. It's a challenge too, and I think doing that over and over again, it just becomes something you want to keep doing.
Yeah,
and then just keep pushing hard. So
I think you got to be a bit crazy. Like another one again. Now I'm fucking punching out quotes, but I've got another one. It's like make unrealistic goal with realistic steps.
Yeah,
and I say that to all the young guys, and I'm like, I want to win an Oscar. It's like cool. That sounds wild.
Yep.
But how can I get to this part here? And then it's like, well, if I make all those little steps, it's like all of a sudden I'm making 100 steps to get here. It's like, it's not that fucking hard. Yeah. And it's like, that's what I've done a lot. I'm like, oh, cool. How do I get this point? And what do I want to do this? And it's like, even again with the social stuff, I know when I met you last year, I wasn't really pushing socials at all.
Yeah, now.
And now I've dominated. So like I went from 3,000, I just decided, I'm like, and the reason why I did was because I was like, cool, I've got these unrealistic goals. Like, maybe I'll fucking, who knows, write a TV show or do whatever. And then I was doing deals with other people and I'm like, I can't do this because I don't have a network that I can leverage off to have these conversations with these producers and shit to get them to trust me. So then I was like, I need to build an audience. And then I fucking went hard as at it. And now I'm like 70, 80,000 across all my platforms. Yeah. And so it's like,
that's good.
And millions and millions and millions of views, like an hour time. But it's like, I did it beforehand. I didn't want that because it didn't make sense. But then when it made sense it was one little goal.
Yep.
Sorry, one step in an unrealistic thingy. So I was like, okay, well now I'm still going to build it, but I'm like, build the platform, and then once I build that, it's going to bring me new opportunity, and then I can take it to this and do whatever and rah rah. It's like, and I'm trying to beat around the bush, but like I literally want to make a TV series, and that's where it got me. Like, So I was working with Corey Worthington.
Yep.
And now we're looking at.
I've seen something on your Instagram the other day. What is he still around?
He's still around. Yeah, he's living in Geelong. So I'm hoping to do like either a book, which we're currently talking to him about, or second to that is like a fucking movie, like it's like a doco, like of Netflix. So he's been hit up by them a bunch of times. So we're sort of navigating that. Yep. And then one of the challenges we've had is that they've sort of said, everyone knows who he is, but he doesn't have a social media presence. So that's where I started going, well, okay, that's a challenge that I would have too. Yep. Yeah. And so that's a challenge if I want to go do something down the track. It's like I need to build up some form of rapport or some sort of success for them to trust you. So, but yeah, so we'll see where that goes. But it's one of those hard things, man, because he's from back in the old days. Like,
he is. That's years ago.
He's prior to. So that's what I said.
He blew up from a current affair.
Imagine if he did that now in social media with live stream with whole.
Oh man, and I sit with him all the time. We have these conversations. Like we've come relatively close, but it's like it's hard for him because he blew up from current affair, but he was effectively the first ever viral normal personality. That makes sense. Now that's every fucking day it happens. Yeah. But he was like went viral, just this normal kid from the suburbs. Yeah. And then TV blew him up, and like he went on Big Brother and did this and did that, whatever. It's like nowadays, like you're saying, he'd have a podcast, he would have his own fucking. He wouldn't even use the media. He'd have like 100%. Million on TikTok.
Him and Trent from Punchy pretty much were the two ones that really went.
I forgot about Trent.
It's funny because like I look at like Troy in a way is like a newer, polished version of Corey. Yeah,
I was gonna mention the same thing.
Yeah.
Imagine if Corey did that back then, he'd be up where Troy is now.
Well, he just couldn't though, like because there was no
exactly.
He couldn't do it.
There's no leverage.
So that's what I mean. Like at the moment, I'm trying to educate him, and it's a challenge for him because he doesn't understand because he's not from there. But I'm like, you got to build your TikTok platform. You do this, you got to do that, and then we do content. Like there's a story he tells, which no doubt he'll post, but about how he ripped off Zoo, Zoo magazine.
Yeah.
So they wanted to buy his glasses. He's like, yeah, I'll do it for $2,000. And then he just went and bought another pair of the glasses, came out, sold them for $2,000, kept his original glasses, and then they just steamrolled over him. Yeah, like he's got heaps of these little stories, man, like that he thinks aren't cool because he just lived it. Like, and that's one of his challenges is like, or he's got fucking insane stories he tells me all the time. And I'm like, well, he's going to make these 1.5 minute clips where you snip them. And he's
He'd
just like,
break it
why would
open.
anyone want to watch this? And he's like, where's it going? He's like, TikTok. He's like, doesn't understand it, doesn't understand why.
Yeah.
It's like, even when he did the thing with me, he probably amassed 2 million views, but to him, he's like, what does that mean? You know?
Yeah,
So
it's not in his.
it's just trying to educate him. So I think that once we get it all done together to build that platform, will be pretty easy because everyone
Yep.
knows who he is. But
Yep.
it's just trying to get him to understand because he's from the original MySpace.
Yep.
That's where he blew up.
Yep.
Whereas now it's like we've come a long, long way, and you don't need any form of media anymore.
Yeah.
To be famous, and that's even like going back to what I was saying about my stuff. It's like, sorry, give me one of this cough. For me, like effectively from January, like all those, it's kind of blown up for me, and then now, even last night, 3 times I got stopped. People like asking to talk to me, whatever. It's like, in what world could I have ever done that?
Yeah, true.
Without now, like I would have had to go audition for a TV show,
Yep.
fucking fight
Big
with
Brother.
1,000 other people, go to Big Brother, get a radio gig, to amass. I think I'm like, I'll be close on, if not over 21 million
Yeah.
views in 3 months. And then it's like, do all that sort of stuff. And it's like, and then people may recognize me. Now it's
Yep.
like, fucking literally, I've got a pod in my couch in my bedroom that I film myself off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, boom. And it's like, it's so wild because
Yeah.
it's like, it's at your discretion now. Like,
Yep.
and there's people blowing up social media stars every fucking day. Like, look at
Exactly.
Spaniard, man. Like, Spaniard, they were never going to put him on TV. Like,
Yeah.
that guy, and now he's arguably one of the biggest influencers in Australia, or
Yep.
or probably media personalities. And
He
he's
went
got
from
zero
that hate,
control.
eh? He went from absolute hate to now where he is now.
Well, he
obviously doing his
pivoted good
videos.
too. I think he kind of adapted to what was going to be appealing to people, and he kind of did it on the fly. And then next thing he just
Just a
rolled out.
twist. He twisted.
Yeah, and
But
it
he-
worked really well for him.
Yeah, and he's just he doesn't like he's obviously he says whatever the fuck he wants. He does
Yeah.
whatever he
Yeah,
wants,
exactly.
and like gets arrested, doesn't care. Like and sort of the media can't control him. But again, Corey, they tell this story, and if you ever meet Corey, he's not the person they portray. Like he's
Yep.
actually relatively quiet,
Yep.
pretty reserved, whatever. But they choose who the character is.
Yeah,
it's like
they-
now
100%.
no one can choose what character you are. Yeah, like
Yep.
so you could even you look at Troy and
It's
Adrian
you.
again.
Yeah.
Like that when Troy got raided by the coppers. Back in the day, that would be the end of him. Yeah, like
Yep.
even if he didn't get caught, it didn't even happen, whatever, which it didn't.
Yep.
And it's like, now, but he's able to go in there and go, no, this is fucking bullshit. This is blah 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 blah.
Yeah, you can
this
speak
is
up
what's
for yourself.
This is what's happened, and then I'm gonna do this, and they're like, the cops just dropped the charges, and everyone's
Yep.
like, boom. So they know the story. But back
Yep.
then, when the media would have crucified him, they never would have picked up the
100%.
back part of the story, or the block thing with Adrian when they filmed
Yep.
it. Those dudes fucking turned that around ridiculously. you know,
100%, yeah.
But it's like again. Adrian probably would have been cancelled, and then it wasn't work. But it's like now, it's like the media really has no strain on anything
Yeah.
to do. with Like,
Yep.
it's like other than you don't get TV opportunity because you might be too controversial. But who gives a
Take
fuck
it in
these
your own
days?
hands now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, you look at TV, no one like this. We've got people sitting here on their Sunday afternoon watching us talk because it's something that's not mainstream and
Who watches TV these days?
yeah, productive.
Yep.
You can
Oh.
sit back and see new people and
I don't
listen
even
to
even
stories.
have
It's
a-
not Netflix or Stan or something.
Same, look, I don't even
Yeah.
have a TV aerial at my house.
Yeah.
So it's
No,
like,
same.
If I want to watch something, I just watch it on the app. But
Yep.
and again, the cool thing about it is the cool personalities coming through. Like that's where you
Yeah.
get these guys that are popping off that you never would have been able to see. Like someone
Yeah.
like me who's telling stories about guns and fucking drugs and clubs,
Yep.
extreme stories that I've seen and whatever. The media's never going to put me on a platform. So
Yeah.
who am I? Like this guy's talking about the stuff that we pretend that doesn't happen in Australia. Now I can talk about whatever I want,
Yep.
and people want to watch it and listen to it, and engage with it, and I can be honest. Like I can say, this is what I think. This is my opinion. Like
Yeah, and they
this is
can't
actually what's
control it.
happening. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I subscribe to things on YouTube that you will never see.
No.
Crime
100%.
ones and all sorts of stuff.
And that's Spanish,
Aussie
man.
history. I like
Yeah,
that.
I love that shit
I like
too.
to learn about how underbelly, who was
Yeah.
this and that, and
But
why it
Spaniard,
went.
that's where he's done so well because Spaniard's come back on and gone. He said he's gone into these fucking hoods and he's showing how people are living,
Yeah.
and their media is losing it because they're like, "What the fuck?" But the reality of it is like people don't know that exists.
That's
like
life
so,
that,
Yeah, and I know obviously they're going crazy and doing burnouts and shit. That's kind of a secondary part to it, but. Some of those joint city shows, man, they're rank as, and like,
They
and they're
are,
not. The news is not putting that on because it's like they all kind of work together, yeah.
Yep.
And so it's cool, but I think that America's blown up the most, but in Australia we're getting these really cool characters come through. But
I feel like it's only a matter of time though, like with Stan, everyone watching how these YouTube channels are going, they will monetize it, and they will eventually
to
bring
it.
some of it through. Yeah,
That'd be mad.
I reckon it will
like
happen.
You make your own TV show and put it on there.
100%.
Oh,
yeah.
how good!
That's a
Because
sick
I'll
idea.
see how many views, and I go, "Well, this is a TV show we're paying some guy to produce, but these guys are on YouTube.
Let's try
blowing
and take
up.
some cream.
Let's bring that across." And
YouTube
Exactly.
pays pretty good. Like I jumped
Yep.
on that in Jan, and it's like one of my weaker platforms, but I'm still sort of averaging anywhere between sort of 10 to 45,000 views.
Yep.
And it pays good. Like,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like even off 45,000, you probably get $400-500.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
and there's you can understand why people do it, but it's like a pyramid thing. Like
Yep.
I was last night, I was watching it. So I was just again consistent. I'm just sort of pumping out 2 times a week, whatever.
And you've got to be consistent. That's key.
It just like last night for whatever reason, it goes whoop, and I had probably like 15,000 views on all my
Yep.
videos, like over collective. I don't know, and then it just dies off, and then whoop.
Yep.
So it just rewards you for success.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's basically a pyramid scheme. So it's
Yeah.
like you keep
100%.
pumping videos into us, we'll
Yep.
keep rewarding you for doing so.
Yep.
If you stop, we'll stop. Yeah. And
Exactly.
So it's
Yeah.
it's a wild model once you sort of start figuring it out. But
Do you
it's like,
find after shows, like you'll then get people go to your channels and just start viewing your stuff?
Yeah,
Yep.
YouTube's the best for it. Like
Yeah.
YouTube, because like and it's the hardest.
Yep.
It's weird because I've got all these different platforms, but like my YouTube's my most proudest.
Yeah.
Because it's like 1 hour of like what I'm doing, but it's people watch one, they watch
Yep.
them fucking all, and they're
Yeah.
like, but they come super fans straight away. That
Yep.
makes sense. So it's like it's the most loyal audience you can have.
Yep.
Because they go boom, watch one video, then they watch the other 10 of them.
Yep.
And then they feel like they know you, and that's why I feel like probably for me, which is different than say other guys. Troy's probably in the same realm, but we're in different worlds. But a lot of people, they just watch 30-second video, or they're watching little Instagram stories.
Yep.
The shortest content I do is 10 minutes.
Yeah,
So
okay.
People think they know me. So then when they come
Yeah.
up to me, they're like,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
probably engage with
Yeah,
7
true.
hours of videos with me. So they're like,
Yep.
they'll be like, oh, hey.
Don't even know their name.
Yeah, but they'll come up and be like, they just talk to me like, I know it's awesome, but
Yeah.
it's just, you got to think, it's like, okay, well, if I've amassed 20 million views, where my minimum amount of videos is like 7 minutes.
Yep.
It's not, that's for some person who did a 20-second video,
Yep.
that's probably the equivalent of fucking hundreds of millions of views.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah,
but it's
exactly.
cool. It's weird being my age and fucking figuring out how to do this stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, there's not many 37-year-old dudes with kids that have gone, I think I'm going to create like TikTok and fucking YouTube content and blah, 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 blah. But
Yeah.
it's cool figuring out learning, because I've always been telling people what to do. Now I'm
Yeah.
making it happen, and then also lead by example.
Yes.
So like I still manage artists, obviously.
Yep.
And I'm like, well, look what I'm doing. Look at the output I'm doing.
Yep.
And look at this is the success I'm getting.
Yeah.
If you do the same output, you're going to get the same success, which I
Yep.
truly believe. Yeah. And
Yep.
so, yeah.
So
I
what's
guess-
majority of what sort of takes your time now? Like apart from
Alcohol companies don't.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I break it up with like alcohol company is like 80% of my time.
Yep.
The other
And that's booming, as we said before. That's going well.
So that's 50, and that's why I do all the marketing for that. So my
Yep.
job's like marketing manager. I do the brands. Like when you see the label
Yep.
majority of anything you normally see will have come through me or have been done by me.
Yep.
And then second to that is the content stuff. So I probably spend like 8 hours after work on that.
Yep.
And then after that would be the Rockefellers and music management stuff. So
Yep.
I've got a label too that I work on.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm in and out of some, like I do stuff with. I'm currently doing a bit with it, but it
Yep.
can take up a whole lot of time.
Yep.
But yeah, but I'll probably work fucking 60, 70 hours a week, I reckon.
Yeah, it's mad. But you put it in, you get it back. You know.
Well, we got a couple of minutes left, so final touch before I take you to the airport, so you don't miss your flight. But
I got a roast cooking.
Yeah, I was
hopefully.
going to say the roast. We're all coming.
Oh, okay. We're all coming home.
I
But
got home last Sunday, and I was like, "Oh, what's for dinner?" She's like, "Sausages." I was like, "Sausages." She's like, "What's wrong with sausages?" I was like, "I don't know." I was like hoping for something a bit more like,
You hear it in the voice.
"Oh, okay."
So touching on that, like to give Dion some props for this setup.
Yeah,
like, is
100%.
this like
Easily
you've
this
been
is
on
the
a
best
lot of
setup I've seen.
podcasts,
Yeah.
like, and to be able to be live like that and see your wife talk to you, say,
Yeah.
hurry up, get home and have something to eat. Like for me, this is
It's a really, really cool.
It's
setup,
dangerous
yeah.
because you can't cut.
Yeah.
So you're out there.
and for me, that's life.
Yeah,
when
100%,
when
it's
Dion
raw.
wanted me to come on, I was like, I'm down for it because it doesn't.
It's
scare
funny
me.
how like we're watching it, as you're saying, but I didn't even think about it until you said it.
Yeah.
So it's like we're sitting on live and then you can't cut it. It is what it is. But but it's like kind of good, you know. Like
I mean, you
even-
still got to be mindful,
There's
but at the end of the
one my
day, it's raw.
sponsors there.
yeah.
Lotus Hill. That's from Melbourne.
Yep.
That's a clothing sponsor that looks after me. Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, nice, fresh. Bit like the Louis Vuitton style, you know, because everything's about nowadays clothing wise.
Yeah, for
a
sure.
bit trashy and everybody
Yeah.
just throws stuff out. Not people think about things. So, yeah, props to
I have to
Lotus
check
Hill.
them out.
Yeah.
We should do a live one night at one of the shows.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Why not? If you can do it all.
Rockefeller's on. We could bring some equipment and do an actual live, depending on policies and stuff with the nightclub. But
Oh, that'd get fucked. There's
could go
it's
live.
wild, man. Like how things are coming. Even like again, we talked about alpha blokes. Like
Yep.
there's another guy called Knuckles. I don't even know him.
no.
So he does a thing called proprietary yarn, but those
Oh,
guys.
proprietary. Yeah.
Yeah, so those guys are they're looking at doing crazy shit. Some of the stuff they're talking about, like,
Yep.
can we do a podcast live in a helicopter? Can we do this?
Yeah.
Can we do that? It's like,
Yep.
I reckon podcasting, it's going to be a competition now. Like, people are going to be
100%.
like,
definitely we can.
100%.
yeah.
You know what? Challenge accepted. We're gonna
But
we
even
can
again, man,
go
like, I do
anywhere.
even my festival stuff, it's like, fuck, it would be cool to have, like, even, because, like, I've sort of broke the mold that beforehand we'd be like, no one cares about the promoter
Yep.
or the tour manager or this or that or that.
Yep.
And I've sort of broken that mold because I've talked out and people care. Yeah. And so
Yep.
beforehand it was just like, these are the artists, interview them, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like, that'd be cool. Yeah. Like,
Yeah,
maybe
we
we have
could-
you at the festival and we
Well,
have
yeah,
like the
we
tour
could have
manager
something set
and
up.
like the promoter and we have fucking the bar manager and they sit
Yep.
down and talk during
Well,
the
you-
festival.
all you need
and
is
we
a
can go
demountable.
live.
Yeah.
We can be live as well, so you can
Yeah.
go live or you can just do a cut and edit.
That would
but,
be actually sick.
Set up a
just
room
set
like
something
this.
And it's
in a
not hard to bring the
demountable and
equipment.
Wrap the walls and and set it up at your festival and
Well,
that's
we've
it.
got,
bring them in and bang
Yeah.
done.
We print media walls, so we can do like massive media walls about that size with whatever you want on the background. So we could essentially just brand
It'd
it.
be cool live
whatever
if
you
you,
want
if
to
you
do.
did like 4 or 5 hours or whatever. Like I know it's
Yeah.
long, but it's like because you would get artists come sit in.
Yeah.
Like you would get the MC sit down. Like
But how cool would that be for people that aren't
Watching.
there to even sit there and watch that and watch the artist come through, sit on the couch, have a chat?
I rate that idea.
Yeah, let's
I'm into
talk.
it.
We're on. Game on.
Yeah, let's fucking do it.
And you touch on the MC, happy to help you out whenever you need, mate.
Yeah,
you
done.
already know that.
We've actually lost that. I've actually lost my MC, so you could be up for the job. Like,
Sweet, no
We
dramas.
have Byron Cook. He's like a radio presenter down in Melbourne.
Yep.
He's moved to Dubai, so you could be solving a problem for me.
Yeah, easy as, mate. No
We might
dramas.
have to bring Dad Bod Pod to the factory, the warehouse, and,
Yeah,
and
fuck
do a
right.
run through. Do
That'd
a
be- yeah, for sure.
bit of the film,
We're
but-
on.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Done. All right, guys. Well, that is an episode 2 wrap with Danny Grants. Jump on the YouTube, guys. Subscribe, like, follow, all the bullshit. You know what to do. If you're not already subscribed and liking the page, make sure you do.
And get some sourpuss.
And get
Drink
some
my
sourpuss.
drinks.
And sourpuss and G up, guys. Done. All right.
Legends.
See you soon.